Hi, it's nice to talk to you. I appreciate it.
Hi,
The,
nice to talk to you too.
so to start off, why don't you talk about, I mean, obviously in the end of the last episode, she found out that Rachel's been stealing her students' work. Talk about sort of her struggles with trying to decide what to do about that.
I think that Phoebe is um somebody who likes to do the right thing. She likes to if her teacher tells her to do something, she wants to do it and get an A plus. And I think that this particular storyline poses an interesting conflict for Phoebe where she has to decide if she has the courage to tell herself I'm actually going to defy authority right now because I believe that's what's truly right. I think that's hard for her to do and hard for a lot of um, people with anxiety or people with like people pleasing tendencies. So I think her struggle is I've been taught, her whole life she's been taught that the right thing is to do what people tell you to do, pretty much, and do it well.
Yeah.
And now now is the right thing to go against what she's been told by her superior is right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Get that. So does that mean I mean I assume if she does tell that it's not probably not going to go so well in the long run for the two of them, I mean, to stay together. So is there I mean is there a chance she could end up back then with Mercer and the team? I would assume that there's a chance that could happen.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I think there's always a chance. I mean, she's clearly finding ways to get involved in these early episodes. She's finding ways to get involved with that team even when she's not working there. So,
That's fair.
yeah. Yeah.
Good. So have you learned anything like, I guess, psychology wise from being on this show, learned about people after being around it for a while? Just out of curiosity, like, do you see people differently now?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think that's what's fun about the show. You get to learn um, you get to learn real scientific facts and you get to learn about psychology and um, it's it's fun to explore people's behavior through that lens.
What was originally back when you started this? What was your prep for this like?
I had actually I had studied psychology a lot in when I was in college. I took a lot of like developmental psych classes and um, I have read several, like post college, I've read several books on behavioral psychology. So I was actually very interested in it even before I was aware of this show. And then specifically for Phoebe, I think there was um, I did some research into like anxiety um, and the types of behaviors that people can exhibit or the ways it can present in their life, especially for high achievers. Um, because I wanted to be authentic in that storyline.
That's- what part of her do you like have the easiest time connecting with, and what part do you have the hardest time connecting with? Like as her as a character.
I have the easiest time connecting to being a good student. That's I was always very much like Phoebe. Growing up, I was a straight A student, and I liked to do well and get a gold star and all those things. And I think the harder part to connect with for Phoebe is maybe maybe the relative rigidity of her mindset. I think I think she's working on that, and that's something that's especially over the course of this season. I think we see her open herself up to things, but it's very difficult for Phoebe to be emotionally vulnerable and um to let people in. And so I think I I don't necessarily connect to that part of her. I'm a pretty like in my personal life a pretty open, warm person.
Well, that's a good thing. You say
Yeah.
that like I think that's a good thing. So is there anything else this season that for her that you are allowed to tease kind of where her trajectory is throughout the rest of the season? Because obviously we still got quite a bit to go after this upcoming episode.
Yeah, Phoebe, I think what's fun about Phoebe's journey this season is she really like we get to explore a little bit more of her backstory. We explore a little bit more of what her childhood was like and how that affects decisions that she's made in her life. And um, we also see her like get a backbone, I think, a little bit more so than maybe she's had, um, and have a little fun too in her personal life. Like we see her have yeah, non-work related
Yeah.
relationship uh issues or yeah.
Is there anything, not getting into her, but just in general, anything that you find challenging still in the show? Obviously, you're in the second season, so you've got a little bit of it under your belt, but is there anything that you still find challenging?
Um, I mean, I think that there's as an actor, you have a lot of opportunities with with all of the scientific jargon and um things like that. It can either just roll off your tongue and be um emotionless, or you can try to put some humanity into it. And I think that's been something I try to do every time I go into work. Make sure that I don't sound like a robot if I'm kind of rattling off all these scientific terms that people may or may not be aware of.
Do you struggle with remembering them though, when there's a lot of those kind of things, or is it come down? People,
No, not really. I think, well, it's just such a part of the job, like
yeah.
yeah, memorizing is the thing. Yeah, big part
Well,
of
let,
it.
let me let me ask you this. Being on the second season now, is there anything, I guess, that you, from an acting standpoint, that you do differently now from the first season that like you learned or just sort of shifted because you've been at this character for, that amount of time? That's like changed that you've, like I said, sort of learned or whatever from an acting perspective, or does it still feel like the same as it did last season?
Um, I think I'm just more comfortable this season because I know everybody. It's nice to be on a project like this where you really you spend so much time with the whole crew, with everybody on set, and you really um, get into a rhythm and you feel comfortable with everybody, and it's sort of like a family. I think that's been the biggest shift. It feels, um, I just always like really enjoy seeing everybody when I get to set. And it's been a lot of fun.
Who's somebody you'd like to have more scenes with that maybe you haven't gotten as close with?
Um, I think it'd be fun to have more scenes with Karen. She plays Rose. She's a lot of fun, and I think that she's yeah, we I think it'd be fun to see Phoebe interact with Karen. There've been a couple like Phoebe goes undercover moments in season one, and I had so much fun with that. And so I think like that's a big part of Rose's world as a spy. So I could see that being fun. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you'd really like to do with this character? Just if you were writing it that you would love to see besides that?
Um, yeah, I mean, I love when Phoebe gets a chance to be warm or goofy or silly or kind of like let loose a little bit. We see later in the season she does get the opportunity to kind of um, make a couple irrational choices. And I think it'd be fun to see her surprise herself with making choices that she just would never expect herself to.
That's fair. All right. Well, I think we're past 10 minutes. Nobody said anything, but I think
Oh,
we're
okay.
past. So thank you. I appreciate your
Yeah,
time.
of course. It was great to meet you.